The city of Prince George has agreed to enhance downtown patrols in the face of increased crime. Plus, City Council has chosen an alternate approval process to help raise $22 million for repairs to the Aquatic Centre. And the Cougars fell in double overtime last night, and with that, their season has come to an end. Good evening, folks. I'm Eddie Huband, and welcome to CKPG News. Our top story tonight is one that's all too familiar for those living in Prince George. It's no secret that crime in the downtown area has been an issue for local law enforcement in recent weeks and months. And in light of a number of fires in the downtown area, Council has approved pumping up the amount of police patrols in the downtown from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Cheryl Jan reports in tonight's top story.
The city's bylaws, the fire department, and the RCMP will be stepping up patrols in light of fires that have occurred in the downtown core.
We'll be familiar that there's been a number of fires in the downtown in recent days. And in fact, from January 1st to April 16th of this year, between bylaw services and Prince George Fire Rescue, we responded to nearly 200 different burning complaints in the downtown core. And so clearly something needs to be done about that. Current actions are not going are not stemming what we're seeing out there.
In the meantime, Council has approved the makeup of a standing committee on public safety, of whom one member has been a very vocal voice for the downtown business community. John Zakowski says enhanced patrols are long overdue.
We know that issues start from 11 o'clock till 7 in the morning. And that's when there isn't activity downtown, or patrols, or bylaws, or police, or the police will be down here if they've got a reason to be down here. But for the most part, no, the sidewalks roll up at 11 o'clock and it's free range.
Patrols are expected to be conducted by one bylaw officer, one RCMP member, and one firefighter between the hours of 10 p.m. and 3 a.m., 3 times per week for 4 weeks.
We are always hopeful that for bylaw enforcement, for fire, that if we educate folks about the risks, we educate folks about the damage that's being caused, that we can change that behavior. And we know that won't always be successful for some, and that enforcement will be the third piece. And so by going out as joint agencies, there's more opportunity to have thoughtful enforcement. So bylaw could look to issue tickets or warnings as may be appropriate, and just really to, I believe, set that escalating nature of enforcement.
Zakowski says he'll gauge the success of the committee coupled with the enhanced patrols by 30, 60, and 90 days.
My concern is the expense, because now we've got 3 jurisdictions involved. We've got fire, police, and bylaws. So we'll look at it. And with the committee will definitely be looking at if there's any positive changes.
As an example, within fire rescue, the 12 to 18 patrols proposed are expected to cost between $20,000 and $27,000. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
There was a lengthy debate in Council about how the public can express their position on borrowing more than $22 million to fix the Aquatic Centre. And the debate was mixed, but ultimately a decision was made to move forward with the process to allow the public to decide. Cheryl Jan reporting once again.
Council has approved how the electorate can decide on whether to borrow $22 million for upgrades to the Aquatic Centre. There were 2 options up for grabs.
Historically, when a council wants to borrow money over a long-term basis, defined as more than 5 years of repayment term, then there's 2 options to get approval for that from the electors, from the voters. One is a referendum, and second is something called an alternative approval process, which is not a new method. It's been in existence for quite some time.
Here's an abridged version of the list of recommended upgrades. Replacement of the building envelope, glazing, roof system, exterior doors, entry columns, leisure pools, the addition of a dehumidification system, repairs to the structural steel columns, replacement of safety items, including deck, lobby, and visitor area tiles, handrails, plumbing fixtures, fire alarm system, and sprinkling heads. But Mayor Salmon was a little concerned over the price tag.
That is way too much money unless every citizen knows exactly what we're going in there. The people living in the College Heights might say, why not build a smaller pool up to College Heights? People living in the Heart, why not a smaller pool up the Heart? Why we spend all this amount of money in the old pool?
In a previous meeting, there were questions around perhaps building a new pool to replace the Aquatic Centre, but Council was told to rebuild the same standard of facility would cost between $130 and $180 million.
Not very many pools today, they have a 10-meter diving board anymore. But since you have it, you might as well use it to host some more international event. You know, have a little whirlpool down below, and you can have a more diving club using our facility for training or not. These are the things we should think about.
In the meantime, the decision on whether to spend that money on refurbishing the Aquatic Centre is in the hands of the public.
By submitting a response form, they're indicating that they're opposed to Council borrowing that money for the project or without first going to a referendum. And the threshold for that is 10% of the eligible electors.
To be eligible to submit a response form, one must be at least 18 years of age and have lived in Prince George, BC in Canada for 6 months. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
Researchers from the University of British Columbia held a dialogue session on Tuesday to discuss Pacific salmon. The goal of this discussion was to provide insight to future government policy and actions to restore the population of one of BC's keystone species. Adam Burles has more.
Researchers from the University of British Columbia were in Prince George Tuesday to seek input from community members about the future of Pacific salmon. UBC is seeking to gain additional insight from local community leaders who have seen the impact of salmon population decline firsthand.
We're trying to reach out to the public through 14 community meetings across the province, and what we're looking for is what people see in trends in the salmon populations, what work is being done in various areas, what's working, not working.
While there has been considerable research into the causes of salmon decline, as well as a reduction in fishing to compensate, the decline continues.
We have sockeye populations, Chinook populations that have all been endangered for, arguably a few decades up here. Maybe in the last 5 or 6 years since the Big Bar landslide, there's been a larger focus on salmon up here, but previous to that, everything was kind of more focused salmon-wise on the coast and that sort of stuff. So we haven't really seen the same sort of attention up here as they have in other places.
Watersheds across the north have been dealing with sustained levels of drought for months now, including the Nechako watershed. And that has obviously had a huge impact on salmon species, which affects our larger ecosystems and also other staple species.
They're important to bears, eagles, the forests, the watersheds, all that stuff. They play a massive role, not just in the Upper Fraser, but even the Upper Fraser Chinook play a massive role in the ocean even, right? Being food for things like killer whales and that sort of stuff.
Dr. Riddle says that in the north, the will and the interest is there to support restoration of salmon species, but that there isn't enough manpower.
How do we actually expand that to really support restoration of the Upper Fraser Chinook and sockeye and some coho? Right, so the interest is here. I think the critical mass is not here. One of the things that we'd have to look at is how to support the north to provide more resources to do the work that they've started.
Other dialogue sessions will be held across the province, including in Williams Lake, Smithers, and Terrace. Adam Burles, CKPG News.
Recent data released by the BC Coroner Service shows that toxic drugs claimed the lives of at least 192 people in March and at least 572 lives in the first 3 months of the year. The data reflects an 11% decrease, actually, in the number of lives lost when compared with March of 2023, when 6.9 people died each day from toxic drugs. In March 2024, 6.2 deaths per day were tied to the unregulated drug supply. Illicit drug deaths claimed 36 lives in Prince George from January through March, and fentanyl has been detected in 85% of unregulated drug deaths that have undergone expedited toxicology testing. Shifting gears now, for nearly 2 decades, a group of dedicated volunteers have spent every week sewing and creating items for community members in northern BC who need it. One initiative they've taken on is creating homemade care packages for mothers and babies in need. Tommy Osborne visited the volunteers while they were hard at work and brings us the details.
For the last 18 years, a group of retired volunteers has spent every Tuesday giving back to the community, with one of its main focuses being donating to mothers in need. The group sews items and creates baby bags to give to mothers in hospitals, and ever since the need became apparent when they first tested it nearly 2 decades ago, the group has been hard at work since.
They asked us to send 2 bags up to a small hospital and see how it worked, if it would go over good with them. And when I got there, and the nurse, she started to cry, and she said the baby had just left there wrapped up in the dad's underwear. He had no blankets for the baby.
The baby bags contain homemade essentials like jumpers, jackets, blankets, a toy, and more, which is all crafted with care by the volunteers. There's also other items like diapers, wipes, creams, shampoos, and other hygiene needs, so a mother will be sent home with what she'll need to care for her baby.
This baby was going home with nothing. It had been in the hospital already 10 days, and so the nurses were so excited when we came with the baby bags. They were trying to pick out the perfect bag, like going through the quilts and looking at everything so that this baby would get the one they wanted.
TELUS Days of Giving is taking place this month, and while the baby bag program is being highlighted for May, this is a weekly event that runs every Tuesday for the entire year, not just during Days of Giving month. For the last 18 years, the hard-working volunteers have been sewing and putting together these bags, but Connell explained this is one of several initiatives the group has taken on.
I love being able to just come out and do it. We have a great group of ladies, and it just feels good to give to your community. We do other things, you know, like the heart pillows, and we do a Kits for Kids program, and all of that makes you feel good.
Having done this for so many years, it's no exaggeration to say thousands of mothers have benefited from the baby bag program. And while it does take a lot of effort, the volunteers say all the work is well worth it, as they know just how much these essential baby items mean to mothers who may otherwise be going home with nothing. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
First Nation Health Authority is looking to improve rural medicine with the addition of new ultrasounds as part of a pilot project. Sam Benison has more.
And now to your health. Brought to you by Hard Drugs, 3rd Avenue Pharmacy, and the Phoenix Pharmacy.
Healthcare in rural and remote settings face many difficult challenges, but thanks to the addition of 2 ultrasound machines added to the community of Quadacha and CKPG, the First Nation Health Authority looks to improve patient outcomes.
The communities are very rural and remote. It's like a 9-hour drive on a Forest Service road or a flight in, so people accessing healthcare would need to travel out if they need an ultrasound, and this helps the doctor and the nurse practitioner that work in their communities be able to detect and have a look and see what's going on first before sending them out.
Medical teams can use ultrasounds to diagnose a variety of health conditions, including pregnancy-related complications. This makes it an essential tool for small communities to diagnose patients before sending them to urban medical centers.
With having an ultrasound, it'll give the doctors the information they need beforehand, rather than sending them out without knowing, with just having an idea of what might be the problem. They have a better idea, and they can converse with doctors that are in the urban settings and say, this is what we have going on, here's an ultrasound.
When it comes to further advancing healthcare in the North, the First Nation Health Authority looks to put in place new opportunities to train more nurses who can stay in the First Nation communities.
With the nursing stations that we operate in the northern region, we have a challenge in getting nurses that can work in those communities, so we rely on agency nursing. And I think that if we could find ways to create opportunities for people in the communities to learn and become registered nurses, then they can work in their communities, I think it would serve our northern region a lot better than what we have to deal with right now. We know there's a nursing shortage worldwide, or at least across Canada, and so if we can grow our own, I think that would be so much better.
If this pilot project improves patient outcomes in CKPG and Quadacha, the Health Authority will look at adding more ultrasounds to BC's northernmost communities. Sam Benison, CKPG News.
To your health. Brought to you by Hard Drugs, 3rd Avenue Pharmacy, and the Phoenix Pharmacy.
As of this morning, the lowest gas price in Prince George was sitting at $1.62.9 per litre at Costco. The lowest price in the province right now is in Quesnel at $1.60.9 per litre. Manitoba currently has the lowest fuel prices on average in the country at $1.42.3 per litre, while BC has an average price of $1.92.3 per litre.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Try one of our delicious stuffed cheesy breads, paired up with chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
The Portland Winterhawks took on, the Prince George Cougars took on the Portland Winterhawks last night with their season on the line in Game 6 of the conference finals. Anthony Correa, he's here. He'll join me in a second, but for now, both teams would surely battle hard, but only one would come out on top in front of a sold-out CN Center. Here's how the game went.
Cougars season on the line for Game 6 in this series. Plenty of chances exchanged by both teams in the first period. The best one being from Boria Vallis on the doorstep, but Jan Spoonhour makes the stop, and we remain scoreless after 20. In the second period, it's more back and forth chances. It would take just a matter of inches. Nate Danielson on the breakaway, and it trickles past Joshua Ravensbergen. Portland takes a lead into the third. Cougars continue to press and press, but Jan Spoonhour would turn them aside until...
Goal height, pressure, still has it, gets it to front, and for Vallis, he scores!
Boria Vallis makes this crowd of 6,000 erupt, tying the game, and we have an overtime game for the first time this series. In that OT frame, Portland with a couple of glorious chances to end it. Joshua Ravensbergen making glorious saves, and the Burger sends this to double OT. The Cougars with a chance to begin the second OT frame, and then the ending. The Portland Winterhawks advance to the WHL Finals, and it's heartbreak for the Prince George Cougars. Both goalies played at the top of their games, combining for 84 saves and stoning multiple high-danger scoring chances. It really was a game of inches that didn't go the Cougars' way.
We thought we had the team to go all the way, and it's, you know, they're a real good team. We knew it was going to be a battle going against them. When you do your comparables and everything, it was just so close. And we had a shot at one end, and how many times have we seen that in hockey, right?
Our goal this year was to win a championship, and obviously we came short of that. And, it's a sad day overall. Obviously, this is last day that we'll be in the rink all together. And last night in the room when we lost, I didn't even know what to do or say. Just for it to come to an end like that, and it's a weird feeling. And I'm really proud of our group and. The way we handle a lot of things, but at the end of the day, we came short of our goals, so it's tough.
Hey, now he's here. Hey. Anthony Correa joins us now on a very, very tough loss for this franchise.
Kind of a depressing note to end on there, right?
Yeah. You could see in Hudson Thornton's eyes. What are your thoughts on last night's game?
Just rewatching those highlights, it's goosebumps, back and forth, exhilarating hockey, and that's exactly what it was. These were the two top teams in the Western Conference, just giving it to each other back and forth on the scoring chances, the defense. It's just a picture-perfect hockey game, and, I may not be crazy by saying that might have been the best junior hockey game played that I've ever seen, at least. Maybe for many other fans. It had everything. Overtime, double overtime. Like I mentioned before, high scoring chances. The goaltending was absolutely unbelievable. And, Portland, as much as fans hate them, they gave them a good series. And, Prince George, unfortunately, on the wrong side of things this time around.
Now, at the end of the game last night, obviously a big ovation for this team. It was still an incredibly successful season. What are your thoughts on the season as a whole?
Yeah, incredibly successul season. Hudson and Thornton touched on it, and a lot of the Cougars interviewing them today also touched on it. There's a lot to take away from this. I mean, there's plenty of young players. The fan support, that was incredible, and it really builds on for the next year. The CN Center throughout the entire playoffs was packed. There's people bringing signs. There's people, cheering. They're starting chants, the Cougars. It was incredible just to see all the fan support, and the players really, really felt that. You ask them about it, and they didn't have words for it. It was absolutely unbelievable. So the fan support is one thing to take away, and then, the multiple records. We could stand here all night and talk about how great this season was, and, a lot of positives to take away for this team.
And just quickly, Anthony, what's next for this team looking ahead to next season?
A lot of decisions, tough decisions for Mark Lamb. You got a flurry of 20-year-olds. You're obviously going to lose Hudson Thornton. You're obviously going to lose Zach Funk and Chase Pauls. And like I said, the flurry of 20-year-olds. Oren Strom is 20, Carlin Dezane is 20, Cohen Zemer is 20, Andre Becker's 20, William Komet's 20, Keaton Dow-Henyuk is 20. You know, you're going to only allowed to keep 3 of those guys. So a lot of retooling for Mark Lamb to do, and it starts as soon as the WHL draft on Thursday. So, you know, lots to figure out there.
The playoff beard is going bye-bye. You know, I've actually come to appreciate.
I really appreciate
Anthony's playoff beard here.
It's getting there. It was a little ugly in the beginning,
it only
but it's
took
slowly.
a month and a half.
Yeah, right.
But we got there. We got there. Anthony Correa, thanks very much for that and all of your Cougars coverage over this run. Absolutely. It was a great run for this team, but unfortunately, it comes to an end in the Western Conference Finals. The TSX is up 31 points to close at 22,291. The Dow Jones is up 32 points to close at 38,884. And CN Rail is down 59 cents to close at $171.89.
Good evening again, everyone. Not a bad day today and a really nice one again tomorrow, but the real change and the shift in our weather pattern will be on Thursday. So the dominant story going forward will be the really warm and above average temperatures that we're about to see in many cases right across the entire province. So our satellite map, again, a mix of sun and cloud, a little bit of cloud cover through the afternoon as well, some gustier winds, and then a really nice clearing trend is what we're going to see. There is this system here, but it's really pushing towards mostly the north coast, and you can see there, okay, a little bit down through the central as well, but we won't see any impact from that. It is going to be nothing but beautiful skies for us. We'll leave a very slight chance of a shower maybe through the late morning and early afternoon tomorrow, but if it does materialize, it would just be a scattered shower or two. Otherwise, it is going to be beautiful as we see high pressure building up from the south and really taking over. So our highs tomorrow look good. It's a little bit warmer. It's a gradual increase for tomorrow, but a big jump come Thursday, Friday. 17 for our area tomorrow. The same up in Fort St. John. We're looking at temperatures into the low 20s in many other areas across the province, including Kamloops, Kelowna. Close to it in Vancouver over the next few days, especially away from the water. But you can see the clouds and potential showers still impacting North Coast for another day and inland to Terrace. Our broadcast region looks nice and sunny. Well, it's a mix of sun and cloud for the most part tomorrow. 19 Quesnel, though. Beautiful temperatures warming up again right through Fort St. James, up in Mackenzie as well, over in Burns Lake, some sunny sky. And across the country, actually, things look pretty good. 17 in Edmonton, so a nice change. Beautiful sunshine there. Regina will be warm but cloudy. Winnipeg, mainly cloudy and a few sunny breaks. 21 the high, though. And then a bit of a breakdown in conditions through Montreal and over in St. John's, but Toronto, Halifax look pretty good, and a lot of areas in the eastern half of the country starting to pick up those warmer temperatures as we move forward through the week. So it is going to be a lot warmer late week, and I think at this point the next real disturbance isn't until maybe Sunday or into early next week, but we'll take some nice warm days while we can. It's going to be beautiful. That ridge really is taking hold. Tonight, though, it's still cold in many areas and even into tomorrow night as well. Burns Lake will certainly experience a little bit of that icy mix potentially with temperatures below freezing. 14 for the day tomorrow. And then there's your big jump in temperatures. Thursday, Friday, Saturday are your best of the bunch. Mackenzie as well, not going to see too much in the way of any major impacts weather-wise until the end of the weekend when you might have a little bit more cloud cover. Down to 0 tonight, though, and up to 23 by Friday. So get outside and enjoy it. McBride, cold tonight, -3, 17 for the high tomorrow. It is going to be a touch warmer tomorrow, but even better on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You're into the mid-20s. Beautiful weather as we head into the weekend. Quesnel, -2 overnight tonight, up to 19 tomorrow, and then you're bumping that temperature right up to 28 degrees. So there you go. For us as well, in for really great weather for the next few. It is going to be still cold tonight. We may even see the wind take that temperature down to about -7 overnight tonight, 17 tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud, a little bit cloudier to start. Through the day, we'll see the sunshine popping through. 24 by Friday. Saturday looks good. Mother's Day, we're watching the conditions on Sunday. May have a few showers for all the moms out there in the afternoon, but the temperatures are still pretty good.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Try one of our delicious stuffed cheesy breads, paired up with chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
The UNBC Timberwolves men's soccer team has added to their roster, announcing the commitment of Jacob Weddle. The left back from Chilliwack will soon be graduating from Sardis Secondary. Weddle paid a visit to UNBC back in February and was immediately impressed by the facilities, the caliber of play, and his future teammates. Being a left back, he takes pride in his defensive game. Standing out for Chilliwack FC, his plan is to pursue a Bachelor of Science degree at UNBC. Well, the NHL Draft lottery was held today. After the ping pong balls settled down, it was the San Jose Sharks who were awarded the first overall pick. And now many believe that Macklin Celebrini is the best prospect in this draft. So we show you what the Sharks could possibly get in tonight's CKP3.
We begin with his first NCAA goal for Boston University.
In their Hockey East opener, they will not play at home until they play UMass. What a score! Wow! That happened quick.
Yeah, it was an odd man rush, and they ended up with a 2-on-1.
Celebrini receives the pass and makes a move before tucking the puck in. He's great in close. Next, he can also create for others.
Picked up by Celebrini. Here he comes with Rakoff. Celebrini for Rakoff, drops it back. Yeager shoots, scores! Makes it 2-0.
World Juniors was a great chance for him to show his skills. Here he finds space and drops it for his teammate. Apples are never bad if they lead to goals. Finally, the scoring touch.
Tkachuk up for Wood. Long lead pass finds Celebrini. In alone, Celebrini backhand shot scored. Macklin Celebrini cannot be stopped.
The speed, the separation, the skill. He is the best player in this draft class. The San Jose Sharks have got themselves a good one with pick number 1 as Celebrini takes top spot in tonight's CKP3.
Excuse me. That's all for tonight, folks. Thanks so much for joining us as always. And your last look this evening is a red dress at the UNBC Garden. Have yourselves a great night, and we will see you tomorrow.